Today, I want to talk about 5 major differences between Canada and Japan that I have noticed during my first month of living in Canada. Number 1. Bilingual product packaging. From toothpaste to bidets, nearly all products that are sold in Canada have both English and French written on them. As someone who adores the French language, I find this very cool. Number 2. Tipping is everywhere. You are expected to tip at most restaurants, except for some fast food restaurants. You can choose not to tip, of course, but it is extremely frowned upon. In Japan, tipping is virtually non-existent, as you know, and when I lived in Australia and New Zealand, I never had to tip. In my humble opinion, tipping is dumb and should be abolished. Number 3. Crazy food prices. One of the things I loved about living in Japan was how cheap food was. I could easily get a decent-sized, healthy meal for about 1,000 yen, whereas in Canada, I feel like I'm paying at least 50% more than I should for what I get. Number 4. The mixed use of the metric system and the imperial system. Just the other day, I tried to cook a frozen fish in the oven. I looked at the instructions and it said to cook the fish at 180 degrees Celsius. So I set the oven to 180 degrees and grilled the fish for 20 minutes. When the timer went off, I took the fish out of the oven, but it looked raw, so I touched it and it was still cold. It turns out that my oven uses Fahrenheit instead of Celsius, even though Canadians use Celsius when talking about the weather or body temperature. Canadians also measure people's height in feet and inches, and weight in pounds, while they measure nearly everything else using the metric system. For example, a carton of milk will say 2 liters, and a traffic sign will say 60 kilometers per hour. Number 5. Some people chat with cashiers. In Japan, you never have a casual chat with cashiers. Most people want to avoid social interaction as much as possible so that they can quickly finish their shopping, go home, and collapse on their beds after a long day of pretending to be productive at work. In Canada, on the other hand, it is not uncommon for people to have a little small talk with cashiers, unless there are other customers waiting behind them. Tell me about your experience of traveling or living overseas in the comment section below.